Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
You mean developments as far as other potential people involved, or can you give me a hint?
I'll say the involvement of others in the case, yes, that's an accurate assessment. I just have to obviously be careful.
Folks, this whole thing just continues to get wilder and wilder. And I legitimately don't even know what to think anymore. And it's sad and it's wrong, and I have no faith that the government can actually handle cases like these. Because let me tell you exactly what it looks like. It looks like law enforcement, whenever it's past a certain point, I mean, even some cops do it. They will sit there and they will do work that is not figuring out what happened and reporting it correctly. It's figuring out what happened, or not really if you've got Kash Patel on the case, and then trying to figure out a way to deceive the public about it. So I don't know, you save your own ass or you cover it up for someone? Like, dude, what are we doing? So I've had a lot of people out there message me, giving me all kinds of theories, and I truly do appreciate it. I think any help on any of this stuff is pretty important right now. And like I said, my first podcast episode is being released soon. This is the channel. Go make sure you're over there. We're going to break down all this stuff, what we know so far. But the truth of the matter is, I think we're going to continuously find stuff out. And I think the goal of the government is to just kind of put it to bed. Like, oh yeah, it was some trans person, or he was dating a trans guy. And I mean, the surgeon said this, and we've got to believe the surgeon. Why don't we start with that, just so we can all have a good frame of mind here. There's an individual by the name of Andrew Colvett, and I believe somehow he's involved in the TPUSA Foundation, or company, or nonprofit, however you want to refer to it. And he put out a statement that, I am not kidding, is so stupid. You would have to have a pretty low IQ to even think for a second that it's viable. I'm going to read this. And if you're wondering what's not viable, it's what the surgeon said here. I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize. This is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle. And I want people to know, I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to this doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. They actually fucking put this out. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Oh my Lord. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives around him. Remarkable, miraculous. Let me tell you guys, the chances of this happening, if you understand hunting, if you understand any, like even a little bit of what ballistics are, if you understand how strong and big a 30-06 round is, it's probably less than 1%. I've talked about this before, but I have shot full-grown bucks that are probably 4 times as wide as a human neck, with way more bone, tougher skin, more stuff to pass through than a human neck. And every single time, even when it went through bone, there was some level of exit wound. Even if it hit bone and the round fragmented, it would still go through. I don't think a lot of folks really understand. I don't think this guy even thought about this before he put it out. I mean, if you're trying to sell a story, maybe send it to a guy who knows ballistics and say, is this sellable? Or is this going to create more outrage or more questions? Because I can tell you right now, anybody who's ever shot, anybody who's ever used a 30-06, that is a mean round. Look at the difference simply in size from a 5.56. And it's going at the same velocity or faster. And their story is, Charlie's the Man of Steel. His neck just stopped it, and they found it right under the skin. You know, it'd be great. Why don't we just put this whole thing to bed? Release the autopsy. Because with this being put out, I have no idea what to think anymore. But in my opinion, there is a very, very high chance that this is total crap. The neck is one of the parts of the body that doesn't really have much in it. You don't have big ol' organs in there. You don't have a ton of bone other than the back of your neck. But if it hit the bone in the back of your neck, that is very close to your skin. I mean, you can feel it when you touch back there. So even if it did hit a bone, it probably would have shot bone out of his neck. Oh man, I'm sick to my stomach right now. And it's sad that it seems like this whole thing is a cover-up. His memorial is going on, and it just kind of seems like everybody is finding ways to, I don't know, make the last statement that was made even more stupid. Then we go into the lone shooter thing, and Tyler Robinson, and him being at a damn Dairy Queen after, and him supposedly taking the gun apart, putting it in his backpack, and then reassembling it once he got into the woods, and then dumping it in a shipping box. And everybody's been asking, is that like the only guy involved? All the text messages admitting guilt? You have to be a pretty fucking stupid person to go out and kill somebody and then get on your phone and be like, oh yeah, this is what I did and this is how I did it and I dumped the gun here and I, essentially come and get me, cops. I mean, these things aren't private, just in case there are other people out there who are as stupid as Tyler Robinson, but I don't think that's actually what happened. The texts, to me, don't look real. They look fabricated. I mean, what dude who's dating some trans person is using the term drop point? Does he have any kind of military background, any kind of law enforcement? Go through his searches on his computer. Has he ever looked up any kind of tactics, any sort of idea as far as any of this stuff goes? Why would you even have a drop point for this? Like, let me just make this very fucking obvious for the FBI. If he was going to get rid of the gun, what's more important in a situation like that? Getting rid of the firearm or you getting away yourself? And time is of the essence in a situation like that. Meaning, yeah, it's probably not super high on the priority list to have a drop point super close to where you shot the guy. If you did have one, it wouldn't be anywhere near the place. It would be, if he could, states over. But yeah, man, we're all just stupid. We love when the FBI just feeds us a load of crap. And then we get further down into what is actually going on. A question that a lot of people have been asking is, where has Dan Bongino been? Where was Dan Bongino when all the Epstein stuff came out? Where was Dan Bongino when this whole thing went down? Finally, he has talked about it. And let me just tell you, this dude looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Because I know that Dan Bongino can't stand when there is corruption going on. But look at his eyes and look at how he talks in this video. You can just tell that the dude is totally fed up with being a part of the FBI. And also listen to what he says.
You mean developments as far as other potential people involved, or can you give me a hint?
I'll say the involvement of others in the case, yes, that's an accurate assessment. I just have to obviously be careful. Okay. My goal in coming on your show, Rob, is I and Kash Patel obviously want to be transparent and get out into the public. We don't want an information vacuum which can be filled by others. What we can get out there, we fully intend on doing, but we still have to respect process in the investigation, which I know everybody understands.
Dan, I hope you see this. If you do, let me just be straight with you. You used to do this for a living. You'd get on your show and you'd find the bullshit in everything. Everyone who still does this is finding a whole lot of holes in what the FBI is doing on this. A whole lot of holes in a lot of it. So if you can't come out and just say what is going on, quit, dude. You don't owe the FBI anything. You don't owe us anything. But if you're a part of the FBI, clearly there is more going on. You're horrible at hiding it. And it would be hard for me to hide something like that. Because the FBI is an organization where they decide what the public should know and what they shouldn't know. And clearly, we don't know everything. The problem is we have X now, where everything, as far as what's going on with the shooter, is on there. But it's pretty clear from him talking, him sweating profusely, him clearly being super uncomfortable with being asked questions. There's more to this. And I love Dan. Always been a fan. But he's a part of an organization that is, there's not really a word for it. But how they've handled this, dude, a fifth grader could do a better job figuring this out. Here's the last thing I want to bring up. The official story is that this guy confessed to his dad. His dad turned him in. Apparently, this dude who met with Charlie Kirk in the Hamptons to talk about Israel and whatever the fuck else, gave the dad $1 million, and then he went back and gifted it to Charlie Kirk's family. But the official story is that his dad turned him in because he confessed to him. Now, the governor is saying this.
The release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m. Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
Okay, so then what if he's not the shooter? Like, you didn't seem very confident in your answer, buddy. It's pretty cut and dry, right? If you go out and do something and somebody turns you in based off of them admitting it to you, then you would be essentially a witness in court. You would testify that they admitted it to you. But now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, we can't confirm or talk about it. Here's the other part. If you admit it to your father, right, and your father clearly is not going along with you or defending you to the point where he is gifting the money back to Charlie Kirk's family, some would call that an attempt at an apology from his family, even though he had nothing to do with it. Why would you not cooperate? Why would you not cooperate with law enforcement? Oh, I admitted it to my dad a couple hours ago, and we went and had a beer, and they gave him $1 million for me admitting it to him. And then now, when I'm arrested, I'm not going to admit to anything. This is just total crap, and we're just being spoon-fed. Here's the next thing, open wide. This is a disgrace. This is a disgrace to Charlie. This is a disgrace to his family. And this is a disgrace to America. If the FBI is truly this disorganized and can't figure it out, that's one thing, but I don't buy it. Release what is actually going on, because we're not going to stop.